What's going on, guys? Welcome to a beginner guide to Baldur's Gate 3 combat. In this guide, we're going to be going over the very basics of Baldur's Gate 3 combat. Later on in the episodes, we may delve more into deeper topics and different tricks, such as using a rain spell in order to get an opponent wet and then blasting them with lightning to do double the damage. It's a pretty good technique. But in the very beginning, you're not going to have access to those kinds of things. So we're going to just teach you the very basics for now. As you see right now, we're right in the middle of the action, right in the middle of the fight. Let's go ahead and start at the very top and explain the turn bar right here. At the turn bar right here starts with these goblins. These goblins already had their turn and attacked. That's why my characters are damaged. Right here we have this little hourglass. That means this character has ended its turn. Shadowheart has already done her actions and ended her turn. Now we have Lae'zel, Meta, and Gale, whose turn it is right now. Why is it that these two goblins are in the middle, you ask? It's because they join the combat later on. They don't get their turn since they joined the combat later on until after our turns still. So that means if you get into a fight and some other monsters enter the fight, you're still going to get your turn. They're not going to just cut away your turn. Anyways, to begin with, let's go ahead and explain what an action is. An action, just think of it as a little token. You can use one action token per turn. Same with the bonus action. Think of it as a little token. You can use one bonus action token per turn. Now, what spells and which actions are bonus actions and which ones are bonus spells differentiate between characters and spells. You just have to scroll over them. And as you see right here, it says action level 1 spell slot, action level 1 spell slot, bonus action. So every single different skill has a different cost to it. To begin with, we're going to go ahead and use one of our actions. We're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and cast Firebolt. Let's go ahead and cast Firebolt on one of these goblins. As you see right here, it has a 65% chance of landing. So we're going to go ahead and launch this Fireball and see what happens. The Fireball was able to hit for 6 damage. We scroll on down to the Fireball. It was able to do 1 to 10 damage. You roll 1d10. So we rolled a 6. Not bad. It's slightly above average. Now, as you see right here, all these skills are darkened out. It makes it nice and easy for you so you don't have to scroll over every single thing to figure out what is your bonus actions. Now, the only things highlighted are these blue spell things. So these ones are your bonus actions right here. You could either jump, you could push, or you could dip. What dip does is you simply dip it into, most of the time you're going to use it into like a fire source. It'll increase the damage of your melee weapon. And also, you could move wherever you want to move before and after your turn. So, since we really don't have anything to do this turn, I always recommend just dipping your weapon whenever possible. Better than just ending your turn and doing absolutely nothing. So, now we're going to go ahead and just end our turn because I don't really want to move anywhere else. Now, the game automatically chose to pick Lae'zel. Let's say I didn't want to pick Lae'zel for whatever reason to attack this turn. Let's say I wanted to swap to another character on the top, and I was like, dang it, that's really going to mess me up. Well, don't worry. As long as they are both on the same exact turn, we could go ahead and swap to whoever we want, as long as they all have the same, what they call, initiative. Now, we swapped over to our other character, and this character has more bonus actions. This one right here has Hunter's Mark. Hunter's Mark costs a bonus action and a spell slot. What that means is you're going to have to use one of your bonus action tokens, which, as you see on the bottom, restores once per turn, and one level 1 spell slot, which, as you see, restores once per long rest. That means your spell slots are a lot more scarce. You need to make sure you save these and use them only when absolutely necessary, because you can only refresh them by long resting and using those supplies. Luckily, those supplies are pretty easy to restore, but just keep in mind, you're most likely going to run out of spell slots and need to long rest, so don't just be throwing out all of your spells willy-nilly. Now, to begin with, we're going to go ahead and use Hunter's Mark on an enemy, because it will increase our damage dealt after we attack something. So we'll go ahead and target this little goblin right here. It's a 100% chance, so it's guaranteed to land. There we go. That little goblino has been marked. Now, as you see, all of the bonus action skills have now been dulled, and all of our action skills are now active. So we can scroll over. Our main hand attack does 4 to 9 damage, and our ranged attack also does 4 to 9 damage. So it doesn't matter what we use. 65% chance to land that, and I can't reach that, unfortunately, so that makes the turn pretty simple. We're going to go ahead and shoot with a little arrow, and we hit for 7 damage, which, again, you can scroll over and see how you did on that roll. Not bad. We'll go ahead and move after we attack, and we'll end our turn. Now, with Lae'zel over here, we could go ahead and just run on over and try to finish off this goblin. As you see, we ran over there, hit him. We don't have to end our turn there. We can go ahead and either jump, which I recommend doing on characters with high strength. You will actually get more distance using jump than you will from walking. As you see, we could go all the way over here by jumping, but if we walk, we could only go up to right here. So if you want to quickly position yourself, go ahead and use jump as your bonus action on high strength characters. Now, as you saw, that does use a little bit of your movement as well. So we'll go ahead and end our turn, and now it will be the enemy's turn. So the enemy is attacking. As you see, we lose our health. You can keep track of that on the side over here. They're using Reckless War Cry. If you were curious what any of the spells that the enemies do, you can always check out the combat log and scroll over right here just to see exactly what they're doing to you. Now we see these enemies are just moving around right now, and we unfortunately are going to have to wait for a little bit in order for us to get our next turn back. That's the only annoying thing about fighting too many opponents. Now, most likely in this fight, we're not going to win this fight, let's be real. I just did this little fight to see if we can showcase a little bit of combat. Now, as you see, we're in quite the tight spot right now. We are losing a lot of health. Shadowheart is our cleric, so a cleric's job is to try to keep our team healed up nicely. So what we're going to do is we're going to run. We can scroll over aid right here, and this giant circle right here tells you the range of aid. As you see, it has a little marker over Gale, so it'll hit Gale. It has a little marker over Meta, so it'll hit Meta. If you're not sure, you could zoom in a little bit. You see those little spinny things right there, those little lines? That tells you if it's going to hit the target or not. So as you see, over here, Lae'zel doesn't have that. So we're going to want to move on over just a little bit in order for aid to reach everybody. You see that one doesn't have it, so let's go ahead and get line of sight on it so that way we can get that little mark. There we go. Now that the mark is on there, we know 100% that it will work on Lae'zel, Meta, and Gale. So we'll go ahead and cast this, which will then heal our team by 5 HP. Now that we've healed our team by 5 HP, we still have a bonus action which we could use to either heal, or we could go ahead and summon a spiritual weapon. This is a clerk, I think, exclusive skill, and you can summon any of these weapons. They're all basically the same thing, so it really doesn't matter what you choose. But we'll go ahead and summon this spiritual weapon, and we'll go ahead and place it right over here. Now we can choose to move one more time, so we'll go ahead and move a little bit over there and end our turn. And again, just to show you guys, if you don't want Lae'zel to take her turn this time, you can go ahead and swap over to a different character as long as they are large. As you see right here, Gale is not large. His little portrait is small. So if I swap to him, it will not let me control him, so I cannot actually use him. So keep that in mind. Now, one other thing that you may like to know is you could reapply a Hunter's Mark if you destroy the enemy that the mark is on, and you could just cast it for a bonus action. It's very rare that spells have this, but Hunter's Mark is one of the rare cases that does have this. So you could go ahead and recast it on this goblin right here. And now we can go ahead and attack him again. Now, as you see right here, this is a different skill. Every skills have different things. This one restores once per short rest. So we'll go ahead and just run over there and hit him. We missed, so that was a little unlucky. Now, as you see, when we move right here, it says provokes attack of opportunity. As you see, if we move, what does that mean? That means this enemy will have a chance to melee attack us. So whenever you see this, you have two options. You could either try to push them, so that way they get away from you and then you can run. You could teleport away, or you could just sit there and end your turn so you don't get hit. So I guess you have three options. You end your turn, and now we'll go back to Lae'zel's turn. Now, again, we can go ahead and attack with however we want. And remember, it just tells you on the bottom right there what the token's cost is, basically. So again, we can go ahead and use an action right here. We'll go ahead and use trip attack. Go ahead and hit this little elf. We crit him for some big damage. Now again, let's try to hit another enemy. We can't really get to anything. We can jump all the way over there. As you can see, we can't actually reach this goblin right here unless we use our jump. So we'll go ahead and use our jump, and then we'll be able to go right next to the goblin. And then there is actually very, very few skills, such as Action Surge right here, which don't cost anything to use. So we'll go ahead and use Action Surge, which is a fighter exclusive skill, which lets you restore your action and attack once again. We'll go ahead and attack this little goblin.
Try something else.
Unfortunately, we missed, so we basically waste our Action Surge there, and we'll end our turn. And that is pretty much it, guys. That's the basics of combat. That's just low level 3, nothing crazy. Just use your actions, go ahead and move around, and try surviving. So we'll go ahead and showcase one last thing. If we can land this push, as you see right here, if we move, we'll provoke an attack of opportunity. So let's go ahead and try to push him. We succeeded, but as you see, he didn't actually get pushed anywhere. So unfortunately, that shove was pointless, and now if we move, we're going to get hit with melee stealth. So make sure you pay attention to those acts of opportunity, or you guys will take big damage and really mess things up. But yeah, that's pretty much the basics, guys. Just go ahead and use your little attacks. Oh yeah, one last thing that I forgot to mention is potions are a bonus action, so feel free to use potions every single turn if you want. You can attack with your main hand weapon, and then go ahead and heal. You can attack with your main hand weapon, and then go ahead and use a potion of speed, for example, or a resistance potion. You get plenty of potions in this game, so make sure if you're finding yourself low on HP, don't just sit there relying on the healer. And if you don't have it in your inventory, don't worry about that. You could just go ahead and click it from an ally's inventory as well, so you don't got to worry about that either. Now, that's pretty much all I've got for you guys today. If you guys enjoyed this small basic guide, feel free to check out the next episode where we'll be going over more advanced tactics. See you guys in the next one.